Welcome to FRC Updates Now for December 13th, 2021. I'm your host, Tyler Oldson. AndyMark has been dedicated as a first-team supplier for over 15 years, and recently they've released new products as we go into the 2022 season. I'm delighted to have on board with me Andy Baker from AndyMark, president and founder, Woody Flowers Award winner, and like myself, certified first boomer. So Andy, welcome to the show. Great to have you on.
Thanks, Tyler. I appreciate the time. I appreciate the attention. It's time to get back into first, right? This is an exciting time for both of us.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll be talking about that, of course, a little bit more. But, of course, today we have Andy on to go more in depth on new products coming out, which we're very excited about, that you've recently released. I don't know, Andy, if you just want to bring on a new product you haven't released, we're cool with that too. But, of course, we'll talk about the pandemic and the impacts that AndyMark has had, and really looking forward and what that means to you as a supplier as well, and, of course, as an owner too. By the way, chat, if you got any questions, make sure you take at First Updates Now in chat. We will be taking questions that you may have later on during the show. So make sure you take those and we'll get those in case Andy doesn't grab those. We'd love to have some questions. And we do have a couple of giveaways if you're watching live as well too. Andy's been gracious to give away a couple $25 AndyMark gift cards. A little more details on that soon, but make sure you're following the channel for an opportunity to win. Your destination for first content, updates, and gaming.
Welcome to the fun.
First Updates Now is supported by Kettering University. On average, Kettering students earn $45,000 to $70,000 over the course of their co-op program to help them graduate debt-free. 99% of students qualify for a merit scholarship, and you can apply for one of the 80-plus first scholarships worth up to $25,000 each. Schedule your virtual visit to get started at kettering.edu. Get ready for esports for those in first with the Fun Gaming League. FGL will have tournament events and be setting up Clan Play soon. FGL is open to all students, mentors, alumni, and volunteers in first ages 13 and older. Join the Fun Discord at discord.gg/First Updates Now for tournament and event info. Andy, you and I go way back in first. Like I said, certified first boomers, regardless of if we are boomers or not.
Right.
It's been a long time. And looking at, the past for me 20 years, but I look at the last 2 years and it feels like it's been as long as those 20 years for things in many circumstances. And I know for you at AndyMark, both as a company and an owner and a person, like I can't imagine the challenges that you've gone through. So I'd like to have you touch a little bit on what it's been like the last couple of years, and what are you looking at as you hit 2022, as we look forward to that? What is AndyMark looking forward to as well?
Gosh, yeah. When COVID hit, we actually tried to put together a risk assessment plan that was able to describe the worst case scenario of what would impact our company. And we decided at that time, the worst case scenario was if the 2021 season was canceled for FRC as far as building new robots and a new game. And that's actually what happened. Now we had the play at home challenges, which were pretty exciting, but the fact that every team got to keep their robot and not had to build a new robot, that hurt our revenue stream.
Yeah.
We were able to handle it. So my first goal at that time was to stay in business, keep as many of my employees working as I could, stay in business, and let's get to the point where FRC and FTC come back to where they were. We looked at revenue streams of all different types of businesses that we're in. We know exactly what our percentage is for FTC, FRC, and then non-first business. And we actually tried to grow that non-first business. And we were successful to do that to a certain extent. So that non-first portion of AndyMark revenue has grown, but it hasn't taken over. Like, we still are mostly serving the first market. Most of our revenue still does go toward comes from first teams and the first market.
So would you guys say that you're, looking at 2022, is AndyMark, all in? Are you very bullish on 2022 coming in regards to we're back to operations, baby. Let's get going, and looking for teams to be back?
I sure think so. I think if you talk to me the end of February, I'm going to be able to answer that question a lot better.
Yeah.
I think
we'll follow up with you then. So.
Well, first of all, FTC is going really well.
It is.
Registration is up, sales of game sets are up, and we're just now getting into the competition season, and we're seeing some exciting games with Freight Frenzy. So that's exciting. Getting into FRC, I don't really know what to expect. I know that team registration is down. That's a little bit scary. And also, not only team registration is down, but I think a lot of the teams have shrunk in size. There's a few less students and a few less mentors on teams. Many teams are going to have to build themselves up with recruiting and fundraising and those types of things.
Well, that's what
So
I'm saying.
no,
Even less disposable income possibly too for those teams, right?
maybe, yeah. I know there's some significant sponsorships that aren't coming along this year for some teams.
Yeah.
I don't want to name names, but
No.
it 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 is going to be kind of challenging for teams. So yeah, at the end of February, March timeframe, I'm going to know more what the picture looks like. That's for sure.
And the last thing I want to ask you before we move on, start talking about some of these products that we have in front. You mentioned that AndyMark does things outside of FIRST as well too, and I always think about the bomb disposal robot that you guys premiered a few years ago. Is that your primary for outside, or do you have other projects going on too?
That was one of them, and it's actually all it is a recon robot. It's
Sure.
not. It's not bomb disposal. Actually, it could be used as a bomb disposal, but we make a recon robot to get access into dangerous situations. So we're a contract manufacturer for Transcend Robotics. We provide video and audio to the officers to try to get into a situation and diffuse it so that people don't get hurt. Both the officers and the people inside who are in trouble or causing trouble. We don't want to get anybody any further hurt than they already are.
Makes sense on there. And
I'm sorry, I didn't really answer the full question, but
yeah,
there's that segment, but there's also some other segments that got bigger during COVID. One was like we have a lot of polycarbonate in the building, so we were able to make lots of guarding for local schools. So a lot of sneeze guards and those types of things for local schools. Also, this is kind of a weird project, but about 10 or 11 years ago, there was a FRC team out in Massachusetts that spec'd, actually some mentors on the team that spec'd one of our PG motors, the gear motors, for a portable ventilator system that the motor would squeeze the bag for the ambo bag for ventilators for people who had to be put on ventilators because of COVID.
sure.
So that became an open source design through MIT. And so our motor was spec'd as the drive motor for that open source design. So we sold gobs of PG 188 gear motors for these ventilator motors that were like build it yourself open source systems for people that didn't have access to really medical grade ventilator systems. So that kept us somewhat busy last summer, well, 2 summers ago. And that opened us up to some access to different types of customers that we learned about. So that helped grow our non-FIRST business.
Well, it's cool to hear about, AndyMark's trying to diversify for things. We've done shows on kind of the beginning, so we won't get too much into that. But we are here to talk about new products that you have released, and we're talking about that. We talked about this pre-show a little bit, but big kudos to your team for the QVC-style shopping network video you came out with. I thought that was really innovative. A little corny, but that's okay. That's the intent of it, I think. So, but no, I thought it was really well done. So big kudos to your team there.
I totally agree. I told the staff that it was my favorite release video we've done. We've had some new staff and some old staff who worked on it. It was really a big team effort. A lot of people put in a lot of effort toward that. And our videos since day one, our early videos were really low quality, but because they were low quality, we made sure there was a little bit of corniness to them.
Yeah.
So that's always been a consistent thing.
I feel like you're talking about fun too, so it works out. But.
Yeah, it's we don't need to be all totally serious with all these videos. That's for sure.
So as we go into products, I want to remind chat, if you do have any questions for Andy or AndyMark, make sure you take @FRC Updates Now in chat. By the way, we'll give a couple of live shout-outs. Red Leader 342 gifting 5 subs. Thanks a lot for doing that. Welcome back. C. McBride 166, welcome back, Connor, and also BDAROZ with Prime Sub. Thanks a lot for that. So, Andy, we got a lot of products we'll be talking about, and as mentioned, we'll be giving away a gift card for that soon. But which one do you want to start off with first? And we'll kind of dive a little bit more into each product, and then, of course, Chad, if you got questions, we'll kind of take that as we go through too.
I guess the biggest one here on the table is the climber in a box. This is an assembled version of a climber in a box. We're selling this as an unassembled um, kit inside of a box, and so it's you get with our main product, you get the winch kit, you get the extrusions. This is a 2x2 box tubing. Inside of it is a 1.5 by 1.5, and then inside of another is the third tubing is 1x1. All of it is 1/16 inch wall thickness, 6061 aluminum, and so constant force springs push it out. The winch system pulls it back in, and this is Spectra cable, and so it's super high strength, high brake strength, like a couple thousand-pound brake strength cable. You're not going to be pulling a couple thousand pounds with this on an FRC robot, but
Sure.
it's plenty strong. So it goes up. Let me see if I can make sure this is on the video.
Oh yeah, you're good.
So it goes out. So the springs are pushing it out, and the winch is letting it out. So then you can go the other way, and you can winch yourself back up. We were thinking that about half the games that FIRST puts out include some sort of a pull-up for a robot. If you think about even back to like 2013, 2012,
Yeah.
about every other
And
year.
especially recently, right?
Yeah, yeah. So it's a great way to end the game. It's a great way for a team to score a lot of points. It's fun to see, and it's a decent design challenge. So this is a simple mechanism that we saw many teams using over the years. This type of mechanism, and so we thought we'd make it easier for the lower resource teams to have a solution to be able to compete.
Or for a team that just screwed things up last minute, they really need something quick.
There's none of those teams out there,
No.
Tyler. I don't know what you're
Now,
talking
Andy,
about.
I do want to ask you, and maybe as a premise for everything on this, is that none of these products that are released necessarily are indicative of what the 2022 game is going to be, right?
No, because like I said, about half the time these this would be used. If you think back, 2020, yes. 2019, no. Deep Space, no. 2018, Power Up, yeah. On that middle switch pull up, that would have been a big deal. 2017, not on the rope. 2016, yes, when you climbed up the side of the tower in Stronghold. So yeah, many FRC competitions would be able to use this mechanism.
And for something like this, before we move on to the next one, is this available right now? Because I see it's sold out on, or it says out of stock on your site, or have people already bought it and it's just flying off the shelves, sort of thing?
Well, just like everything at AndyMark, it comes in and out of stock pretty quickly. The thing that's out of stock right now is that bearing, and we ordered more. They're coming in tomorrow. Between tomorrow, the next day, we actually have a lot coming in, and they're on a boat somewhere. So we have a gap fill of that bearing coming in over the next day or two. So pay attention to your email. That's going to come back in stock pretty quickly, like within the next 2 days.
So I would say make sure you click the if you're interested in this on their site, they do have an icon that says sign up for notification when available. So make sure you do that if you're interested. All right, very cool. What's next? I think we have some Mecanum wheels.
Yeah, there is a
Mecanum. Andy, can we get a final saying, please, so I can soundbite it?
I've always said Mecanum. I've heard people try to correct me. I don't know actually what the answer is, but since 2006, when we started selling an 8-inch Mecanum wheel, I've called it a Mecanum.
All right, so if you're in FIRST, it's called Mecanum. Just saying.
You got to go back to the 1971 invention by, I think his name is Boris something.
Yeah.
And he was in Norway or Sweden, and it was the company named Mecanum that had these wheels. Anyway, so this is a 2.25 inch diameter wheel. It's really designed to be a vector intake wheel. You could drive with it on a very small robot, but it's really intended to collect in like power cells or other types of balls on the floor. Just like many years, there's balls. 2019, there was a ball. 2020, there was a ball. 2017, there was a ball. So there's lots of opportunities to have a small Mecanum wheel or vectored intake wheel act as the intake mechanism. Obviously, this is a right-handed wheel. You have left-handed wheels. one thing we did do differently with this is how to purchase it. You don't just buy a set of 4, 2 rights and 2 lefts. You can buy as many rights, many lefts as you want, but you can get quantity discounts like you do with our bearings or screws.
So, we've seen other suppliers with mechanic wheels coming out for things like this. Is this the first time you've done one this small before, or have there been other ones like this?
Well, there's definitely other ones out there, and there's really
I mean,
good
for
ones.
AndyMark in particular.
This has been on our in our design process about 4 or 5 years. The difficulty we've had is really get the sourcing right so we
Sure.
can have it at an affordable price. Initially, with the way we source things, it was way too high priced, and we couldn't really get it out there to sell it as a competitive product. One of the big things it's different compared to others out there is it has this really thick side plate that's steel, so it can take an impact from under the robot, a wall, a post if you hit it, and it'll withstand a bang. But yeah, it's been about 4 years in the making. Um, this is our smallest Macadam wheel. We have a 4 inch. We have 2 different 4 inches. We have one 6 inch, one 8 inch, and one 10 inch Macadam wheel. Obviously, within First, we don't sell many 10 inch Macadam wheels, but they're available if you need one.
Just in case. So
Yeah.
all right. So this next one on here is actually something that I believe that you guys sent the Kettering Robot in 30 Hours FTC team a little while ago. So I think this was actually used on an FTC robot in the prior, because that's your spin take, I believe, right?
Yeah. So our mentality with releasing products this year, actually the last couple of years, is that if we have a new product and we're a long way from the next really planned product release, we'll just go ahead and release the product. We'll put it in our newsletter. We'll give attention to it because we don't want to keep it till like a release that's all at once. We would rather incrementally release these things. But as we get closer to the release date, we might hold a couple back. I think the community wants to know new products when they come about. So we were able to release these before FTC kickoff in September, and it's just a water jet cut piece of silicone that acts as a really nice intake mechanism for odd shaped pieces. Like one of this year's game pieces for an FTC game was a duck, and so if you wanted to grab a duck off the floor, having this odd shaped spinner or paddle wheel or whatever you want to call it, we called it the spin take. It would grab the duck off the floor, pull it into your robot pretty nicely. And we have different bores. This is I think a undersized 1/2 inch bore hex. This is a 8 millimeter bore with a hole pattern to fit onto the nubs and other types of patterns. I think we have a 5 millimeter hex bore that you press it on, a 5 millimeter shaft. So lots of different types of bores that go on lots of different types of shafts.
So if you were looking at from an FRC perspective, maybe at previous games or something like that, like where would you see like a spin take fitting in for something like that?
Maybe cubes, power up.
Sure.
That might work because since the cube was odd shaped compared to a ball, there's irregular distances as you're grabbing things. Most teams grabbed it on the side. It kind of depended on how you wanted to grab the cube, but it would work for balls, but it's not going to be as efficient as another new product that we have would be the sushi roller,
Yeah.
or one of our many compliant wheels that we have.
Well, before we get into a couple more for them, we're going to start a giveaway, by the way. So if you are watching live in chat, make sure you are following the channel. You do need that in order to be eligible to win. And you're going to type spin take in chat. Right now, that's your opportunity to win the giveaway. If you are a subscriber of First Updates Now, we're going to give you 5 times luck to win. But good luck, everybody. We're going to draw for that after we go through a few more products. And maybe Andy doing some tensile strength testing. We'll see if he does that live on air, or bike tests as well. So.
Tastes like chicken.
Yep, delicious. All right. So actually, why don't we talk about the sushi rollers next? You mentioned that, and let's hop into that and talk about what those are for and maybe some utilizations for it.
Yeah, so this is a simple little small roller with different durometers, just like our compliant wheels and some of our other wheels, but we have softer durometers here, we have harder ones here, and here the black is the hardest. And we have different bores, half-inch hex, um, 5 millimeter hex, 3/8 hex. So we already had these molded cores. We use this as a simple spacer. So this is a product we already have. We just retooled our plastic molding machine and we spit in the TPU over our polycarbonate spacer and it becomes the sushi roller. It's pretty simple, but it's used as a low profile intake mechanism or intake roller. A lot of teams used them for spinning the control panel wheel in last year's game. You could just take a couple of these up next to the wheel, very very small diameter, and you can spin that wheel. What that gives you versus a larger diameter like a 4 inch or 2 inch or 3 inch compliant wheel is you can spin your motor at a much higher RPM to get the same linear velocity tangentially off the cylinder of the roller. You don't need to gear it down as much if you're using a 4 inch wheel as your intake.
What was can you talk about from a product development standpoint on these? Like how long was this in development for? What was maybe some of the impetus or inspiration behind it?
Well, like I said, these the cores we already had.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
it
Okay.
was kind of easy. It was once somebody came up with the idea, hey, we could take that core we already have molded here in town. We could just make a new mold that does the overmold around the core, and that's a pretty simple mold to make. And it's we already are making these polycarbonate pieces. So the process of that was just a really cool eureka idea that led to a really novel, nifty part, as opposed to the 2 1/4 Mecanum wheel. Like I said, this has taken us at least 4, maybe even farther. I remember having I'm not gonna say who it was. There was an intern that worked on this as one of his first summer projects. That might have been 4 or 5 years ago.
Sure.
It just took us a long time to get the BOM cost right for this to be affordable to sell at the right price.
Do you want to comment? Ola Zola 5818 just sent chat that they just bought an assortment of the kit this afternoon and they're looking forward to it. So they said they look really cool.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, I love the colors thing. By the way, it's been such a huge thing that I think we're seeing kind of supplier wide on things like more cool colors coming through, and I think that segues nicely into the driver station tray that you have in the awesome purple and all the different colors that go along with that too.
Yeah, so the driver station is a nice, simple, kind of like duh product, but everybody needs to have some sort of driver station. We always feel bad for the teams that maybe they're rookies that they have their laptop and they're fumbling with their joysticks and they're maybe falling on the ground. So they learn pretty quickly they need to have some sort of a tray or some maybe a briefcase or something to hold their driver station. So this is a driver station tray version, and it has polycarbonate bottoms, it has polycarbonate side. As you know from many of our other products, we use a lot of polycarbonate here. So these polycarbonate pieces actually are nicely fit into some of the other products that we make on our router. So we were able to use some of our scrap or smaller sizes from our production to make these products. There's some. So what we do is we double up 1/4 inch polycarbonate for the handles. So this becomes a 1/2 inch thick polycarbonate. You can add a 3D printed, colored, um, like an extra handle grip to make it a little bit more comfortable for your hand. So we provide the STL files for those, and then the structure member of the piece is our peanut extrusion, which takes a 1/4 20 threaded screw into the end without even tapping the hole. You can just thread the screw right into the end, and we have all kinds of different colors of the peanut already anodized, already in place. Black, well, we have natural silver, but black, purple, green, red, gold, uh, blue. Yeah, six or
Red's my
seven.
red's my favorite, by the way. I think looking at these.
Yeah, That was your old team. Your old team was red.
That's right. I didn't even put that together, but that probably is why. So, one thing I want to ask you before we get into the, I think what might be our last product, I don't know if we'll have any others, but is pre-assembled items or things that are maybe not pre-assembled, but full kits for things, right? I think we've seen more of that coming out over the last few years from AndyMark's perspective on it. Like, why has AndyMark chosen to do more of those types of, like, we saw the climber, we see the driver station here, that sort of thing.
This has been hotly debated since AndyMark started, really. Even before AndyMark started, I think people have called it, is it the Apollo 11 type of challenge where you build a robot out of only these components on the table, was fixing the Apollo 11 problem when they had that issue, or are you putting together a robot kind of like a grill, like you're buying a grill from Home Depot or Lowe's and you have all these parts and you're putting it together with the instructions. And that's a debate that'll never go away. When we started AndyMark, we had that debate going on Chief Delphi. If you go look at the andymark.biz thread, there's a really good debate regarding how much a supplier should offer to a team to allow them to buy off-the-shelf parts like Omni wheels or shifter gearboxes, or now it's swerve drives or lift systems.
Yeah.
I debate that, and I can see more positives with providing students and teams a solution that's already done, as opposed to making them figure it out and to do that thing, to make the thing that other teams can buy or other teams can make easily because of their resources. As we all know, FRC is a super challenging competition with too many things to do and not enough time, and you don't have enough resources to do it. So if we can provide products that make teams build a better robot, that makes them perform better, and then they're going to find something else they can develop, like a vision system or a different mechanism or a different control system. They're going to have time to do these incremental improvements of the robot, and eventually they're going to be making this really cool, very complex, very inspirational robot. And I would contend, if you look at robots in 2021 and this upcoming year 2022, and you compare those robots and those technologies to really before AndyMark started or other robot vendors started selling off-the-shelf parts back in 2003, 2004, it's night and day. You might have a few teams with really amazing robots, but the parity within FIRST was not there.
Yeah.
And what we're trying to do is give teams with low resources the ability to compete the best they can with the best teams.
One of the things that I'll say just in general, not really looking for more on this, but is no matter what decision you as a company makes, it's going to be debated either way, right? So, like, regardless if you do it or you don't, when we on Fun look at things too, it's what's going to serve the greater good without disenfranchising people at the same time, right? Like, how do we find that balance? And it's a tough thing. And the reality is, no matter what you do, a lot of people are hopefully going to like it, and there's going to be the few that just don't, right? And
right.
You just got to make a decision moving forward with that. All right. So one last one we're going to talk about is the aluminum pulleys, and then afterwards we're going to draw for our giveaway, and then we have a few questions coming in that we'll grab from Andy as well.
I have two more.
All right.
I'll make them both kind of concise. This is an aluminum pulley with a hex hole in it. It's a 24 tooth HTD pulley, and it's really good for like belt in a tube drive or transmission, power transmission. Sorry. So inside of a 2x1 tube, you can have a belt on this pulley, and it has nicely pressed steel flanges on either side. So we think a lot of teams are using stuff like this. We thought we'd make a good one that helps teams out. Also, this is kind of hard to explain, but this is a very impactful part. If you've ever used the AM1ForU kit of parts chassis, either 8-wheel drive or 6-wheel drive or whatever you did, on the outside wheels, there's an axle. There's a 3/8 axle with a head on the outside and a 3/8 9-lock nut on the inside wall. And if you have to change that, well, let's say the wheel wore down or it cracked, like you yeeted onto the platform in 2019 and you broke your wheel or whatever you did, you have to change that wheel. And so you had to get a wrench in there on the inside to hold that 3/8 nut. And it's sometimes hard to get a wrench in there, and maybe you lose the nut or something and it falls off. Anyway, this nut holder is actually right now in first choice. It's a simple little polycarbonate piece, but it's really impactful. It's really a huge time saver for the people who want to change wheels and take the axle in and out on the outermost wheels on your AM1 for U4. So it's really simple, really effective.
I just want to say I tried to order 9,000 of those from your website and only let me order 165. So,
well,
I was trying to buy the whole market, build up the resale value, because these are going to be hot. I can tell.
Yeah, I think so too. That you need 4 of them. So I think we sell them in a kit of 4. But
Sure.
Right now, like I said, they're on first choice. I was actually packing a couple first choice orders today because it's kind of an all hands on deck time. And I saw some of these go out the door, and teams are going to get these in their first choice order. That's pretty cool.
Well, before we move on, by the way, and talk about, we do have to draw for our first giveaway. So let's go and do that. By the way, spin take was the keyword for that. And our winner, well, I talked about him before. Ola Zola, 5818. Congratulations. Make sure you message me with your name and email so we can get that gift card out to you from AndyMark. Thanks a lot. So before we move on, a couple brief things we want to touch on. First off, for fun, just want to give a big highlight. If you're not familiar, we do have the Fun Gaming League Esports League that just launched. We just played some Super Smash Brothers last Friday. We got a Rocket League tournament coming up this Friday as well. So if you're into Rocket League, it is all skill levels and is open to anybody who is a student, mentor, volunteer, alumni of FIRST. We just want to bring the FIRST community together. Let's play some esports. Get some more details at discord.gg/FIRST Updates Now. And we're looking forward to more games. We got a Valorant tournament later on. So we're starting to do a few more things, and we might have a couple other games sprinkled in as well. Do also want to give a big shout out to our show sponsor, Kettering University. Hey, if you're interested in going to a university that close to 50% of people who are actually in robotics in high school are attending Kettering University, you want to go to a place where you can be with other people like you, check out kettering.edu. You start in a co-op your first year. So if you're looking at paying off those student loans right away and graduating debt-free, Kettering University may be the place for you. You can check out their FIRST and VEX area. They got a fantastic community center. I was just there a couple months ago. Awesome arena where you can learn more, and they have esports as well. So if you're interested in starting a virtual or in-person tour, head on over kettering.edu. Couple other things, Andy, as we keep moving on and go through, we do have some questions that we want to ask, so I'm going to grab those and then we can wrap up with anything else. We'll start another giveaway in just a moment as well, but let's grab some of the questions on this, and some of these might be to new products, some of them might not be. So starting out, we have slightly angry egg asks, any news on when more RoboReel 2.0s will be back in stock?
Yes. The latest we've heard is the end of this month. We were supposed to get them shipped earlier. That ship date has been moving and moving. So please, we appreciate your patience with this. But I think the end of this month, around Christmas, is when those are going to be coming in.
All right, very cool. Next up, coming up, Peyton asking, neutral colored wheels when?
Peyton?
Yeah, from 461.
Hi, Peyton. I was one of Peyton's mentors on his team a long time ago. So he was on Technocast with me. Neutral colored wheels. We haven't thought about that much. So I'm open to ideas. It's not going to happen right now. If it were to happen, which I'm not saying it is, that would be a next summer type of thing, probably. Like right now, we're building up stock for January, February, March, and going in and changing colors of wheels and getting more stock and non-colored wheels. We haven't planned for that. So, Peyton, let's talk. I'm open for ideas, but yeah, we haven't planned for that yet.
One other question from Payne as well, too, asking, will we see other tooth count aluminum pulleys?
Yeah. There is a wider version of this that's out right now, but I think it really kind of depends on how popular this is. Um, we can buy the pulley stock. We buy it in lengths, and then we can machine it to the same fashion, and we can put on different types of flanges. So this is kind of a test run to see how popular this is. So as these sell more, obviously we want to make more popular products.
And before we take a couple more questions that we have, by the way, if you have any more kind of last call for questions coming in at First Updates Now would be preferred, but just type it in chat. Otherwise, we'll start our second giveaway from AndyMark for another $25 AndyMark gift card. And the keyword is going to be sushi. Type sushi in chat. If you do have to be following, so make sure you do that. And subscribers do get extra luck. So good luck to that. We'll draw in just a little bit. Next question coming up on here. Might be a couple comments as well. Oh, but Indy Sam would like to remind you that Monday Night Football is currently on while we're recording this. And you picked the time, not me. Just saying. So
hi Scott. So yeah. So if the Colts are playing, as you are, Scott and I are both like the Colts. So yeah, I understand.
Fair enough. Next coming up, what we have here, just a comment from Lexio4272 says, huge fan of the pulley. Probably my favorite new product. I'm sure we're going to be buying some this season. A couple other people commenting on how much they like the pulley as well.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Jay Krumbucha says, specific product question. How extensively has AndyMark updated the 42-tooth HTD 15mm pulleys been tested on drivetrains?
We've tested the bejesus out of this. I mean, whatever a lot is, that's a big word, but that we've tested these a lot over the last couple of years, and we've seen the old one crack sometimes, and there's an interface issue. It's kind of one of those things where that pulley was good enough, but the more it's being used, the more it needed to be improved. So we finally improved it. It's been something we've kind of put off for a couple of years, but we finally improved it, and it's we have molded new versions of it now. So it's interface issue with the wheel and the wheel's hub, so it fits better, and there's not as many stresses between that interface. And then there's also an easier way to get at the screw. I think we're speccing out different screws to go with it, but we realized there was a chance for your 5/16 socket to fall off as the 5/16 head on that screw got deeper into the 42-tooth pulley. So we have solutions for that.
Question coming in from Charles M479 asking about Robot in 3 days. How many AndyMark sponsorships are there going to be for Robot in 3 days?
I think we've already decided we're doing 5 this year, and those teams have already been notified, and they're in process of getting their sponsored hardware to them. So I think look for 5 teams. I don't have them off the top of my head, but really we're sponsoring the teams that put a lot of effort into making sure they're communicating their ideas out to the FIRST community as a whole, but also out to their local FIRST community. So most of these teams are college students who want to build something and want to give back to their community by providing ideas and prototyping and such that really will be inspirational to the rest of the teams in the FIRST community.
And one thing I will say, as aside from fun with Robot in 3 days, is if you are a Robot in 3 days team, please get in contact with me. We'd love to help highlight and showcase what your team is doing. And the echo what Andy said as well, too, is my philosophy as a media content producer has always been we need to create stuff that is not just a cool robot, but is actually going to provide value to what these teams are going to do. And just something that I've said to other college students in this, but it's like, remember, like, you're in college now, you're not part of FRC in that particular. So your goal shouldn't be just to build, the most competitive robot. Your goal should be to help inspire the people that are actually in the program as well, too. So, always keep that in mind. Robot 3D is such in my opinion, is a really cool thing. I know, people like many other things. Some people like it, some people don't. But I think it has such great potential to do such good for the community.
I think one of the things I'd like to see from Robot in 3 days teams more and more is not not so much the mechanical things they come up with and the mechanical solutions and mechanisms and such, but also making sure that the community sees what resources they use for software, um, default codes, using WPI Live, GitHubs, those types of things to make sure a team can not be so, especially a new team, not be so intimidated by some of the difficulties
Mm.
of Java or LabVIEW or other programs that they're trying to run their robot with. So me as a mechanical designer, I'm a mechanical CAD guy. That's my base. I am not confident with my electrical controls software side. So I would look for those things to help me run my first team if I didn't have the resources on my team to know how to code things already. So the challenge is, not just tell us about mechanical solutions, but tell us how to get the right code programs, how to test things out, how to get things configured, all those things to get me ready for my season.
And lastly, last question coming in from us, the people, saying, Andy, how are you so awesome and how can I be more like you?
I That's very nice. I I think I put on a good show, so maybe we should spend some time together. And I could, I I tell people this: I make mistakes every day, and it's not making mistakes; it's how you recover from mistakes. So, um, admit your mistakes. If you fall, you get back up. Try to make things better. So I don't know how awesome that is, but be able to be flexible enough and humble enough to admit what you do and improve on the things you're trying to work on.
Yeah, always be hungry, right? Like,
Yeah,
always be. But Indy Stan's comment though is says that it's all Mary.
that's true. Yeah, she keeps me pretty focused, and she corrects me a lot,
There you
rightfully
go.
so.
Well, let's go ahead and draw for the second gift card. Sushi, once again, was the keyword for that. I mean, there's a lot of people who could potentially win. There's this one person called Robo Greg in chat, and I don't know why he wants to win, but he's entered. So maybe he's trying to get some extra product or something like that. Actually, I'm going to roll for it. It'd be really funny if he did. C
That was.
Harvey 829 is the winner though. Congratulations. Hi Greg, by the way. Congratulations. Make sure you shoot me a message with your name and email so we can get that out to you. And thank you to everybody for your support of First Updates Now, and thanks to AndyMark for the donations as well too. Looking forward to what cool products they're able to get with it. Andy, before we wrap up, anything else you want to talk about? New things coming up, or anything do you want to get out into the air at all?
I guess so. A couple things. We are going to have some new products. So if you do want to get back on this show, probably late February, March, we're going to have some new products. Now, they're not helping you much in January. I'm sorry about that, but because of various reasons, some of the products that we're trying to release before the season just didn't happen. And I don't want to tease what they are. I don't want to get people excited about
Yeah.
them. But they're a couple cool new products. You'll be able to see if you see any AndyMark staff out at events. So you feel free to bug any of us. Say, hey, what new products do you have? We'll show you definitely some of this new stuff
Just have some in their
in
pocket or what?
in Houston. Well, maybe sometimes they might not be able to talk about it. Sometimes they're going to be happy to talk about it.
All
We'll
right.
see.
And somebody did ask
And
a question for you. Is
the
Lunch with
second
Andy
thing.
coming back? Go ahead.
Oh, yes, I'll answer that. Yes, lunch with Andy. I think we have a meeting set up this week to talk about the planning of that. It will be at least once a week. It might be more. Um, I think if we get a lot of demand after our first couple shows, or if we get a lot of demand leading up to that, we might spend more time on those. But we're putting more effort into Lunch with Andy planning. We're trying to make it fun and informative and have a good season with that. But the second thing I wanted to bring up was events. I am so pumped to go out to see teams compete, to see students excited about their robots at district events, at regional events, and especially the championships. So the second thing I want to talk about that we didn't was really to encourage teams to be excited and pumped up for their events, looking forward to many many travels to go to events this March, April timeframe, so we can see what all you guys have come up with your robot designs.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I am planning on being at an event every single weekend. So I'm excited to get back. And, I went to Chelsea Champs in November, and I've gone to quite a few off seasons and stuff, and you can feel that momentum starting to build up again. And it's very exciting. And I hope everybody watching this and the community that you are excited to get back into it. We're all excited to do our part in making FRC the awesome program that it is, and can't wait to see all of you at events.
Definitely.
Well, that's going to wrap up our show for today. Andy, thank you so much for taking the time coming on. Always a pleasure to speak with you. I remember you from when I was a student. That was 20 years ago. So not calling you old, but it's
true.
So no, but it's sincerely, it's always a pleasure to have you on. You're so insightful, and we really appreciate you taking the time to talk about your new products and just talking about AndyMark and what's been going on. And thank you for your contributions to the community.
Well, thanks so much for your time, Tyler. I know that your viewership is growing and growing, and it's very positive. I appreciate the comments back from your viewers and the questions and the time that you had.
And we do want to thank everybody who has been following Fun. If you did click that follow button, make sure you do that. If you're watching live on Twitch, always hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed as well today. I believe we listed them all off, but it really doesn't mean a lot to help Fun stay loud, live, and independent. So with that said, more content coming up, of course, in the future. Can't wait to see you soon. But that's it for FRC Updates Now. See you next time, and talk to you then. Thanks to Kettering University for their support of this video. Kettering University is a national leader in experiential STEM and business education. Discover why so many FRC alumni come to Kettering University by scheduling a virtual visit at kettering.edu. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay up to date on our new videos. Keep the conversation going and provide your input to our content. Watch our live shows at twitch.tv/FRC Updates Now. Join our Discord at discord.gg/FRC Updates Now. And check out Fun FTC on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And FRC Updates Now on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.